Before attending college, I've heard all sorts of stories about college being expensive, but I didn't realize that until my first semester of college when I had to purchase a textbook for my psychology class. The book was $297.99 plus tax and shipping. The price was ridiculous. Nonetheless, I'm only going to use this textbook for the semester. I thought to myself, how am I going to afford all these course materials in the future? As a college student, I've experienced the struggles of obtaining course materials, and I know I'm not the only one. Textbooks are too expensive for students to buy, which is why I think they should be free or at least provided at low cost. Since college students already pay thousands of dollars in tuition each year, it's not worth the cost, and if that's not enough, there are alternatives. According to College Calc, the average annual in-state college tuition in California is $14,229. Most of this money is used to cover the classes the students take. Not only do we have to worry about college tuition, but according to Song's article, this includes room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and other expenses. Basically, he explains the breakdowns of the cost in college. For example, the average cost for rooms and board is $10,800. In addition, the cost for books and supplies ranges from $1,200 to $1,250. Not to mention, not everyone has the same lifestyle, so some people need to include transportation expenses, such as using the bus or taking an Uber to go to school, and this can add up to $1,170. Not to mention, other expenses such as personal needs can cost up to $2,100. Imagine the total cost of all of these supplies. This puts a toll on college students by adding more stress into their lives. Now that I've shared about their expenses, let me talk about how the costs aren't worth it. As I mentioned before, the average cost for textbooks are $1,200, which isn't worth it. Not to mention, we're only using these textbooks for the semester, which is a lot of money for a short period of time. However, we need these textbooks because they cover important material of the course, which forces us to buy them. An example of this are access codes. According to Christoph from CBS News, textbooks bundled with access codes that expire by the end of the semester forces students to buy books at retail prices at campus bookstores or online. This creates a disadvantage for students since they can't use the material in the future as future references, not to mention they can't resell the material since it expires, which makes it worthless. Currently, many books are getting bundled with access codes. I actually experienced this in a class that I'm currently taking this semester, where I was trying to buy a textbook. However, it turned out Pearson recently discontinued their physical copies because they switched their physical copies to textbooks to bundle with access codes. This forced me to buy the book at full price instead of buying a cheaper version. I could have saved $70, which is a lot of money, and I could have used that for something else. As a student who comes from a low-income family, situations like these can be frustrating because we're not getting our money's worth. Now that I've shared about this, let me suggest some alternatives for textbooks. According to Cliftoff's article, there are open textbooks that are supported by law and government, which cuts the cost significantly. There are more than 4 million open textbooks that can be downloaded or purchased with little to no cost. These are encouraged for teachers to use as class material. This way, students will have to deal with buying textbooks. I highly recommend teachers and students to check them out. Although we would rather get a free tuition, paying for our textbooks could be the first step into supporting college students since we already have to worry about paying for our college tuition, whether the costs are worth it, and the alternatives. A quote that Zig Ziglar said is, "There is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs." And I chose this quote because it reminds me of all the hard work that college students go through, which is why I think people should support them with at least providing textbooks for them.